there, welcome to this edition of Ignite News. I'm Han Bo.
And I'm Christiana Machado. The big news this week is obviously the elections. And while students got a bad rep for not voting, a special visitor dropped by to help persuade young people to vote.
Liberal leader Justin Trudeau made a trip to Mohawk College Wednesday. Trudeau spent time in Mohawk's engineering wing, learning the ropes from Mohawk students, and then spoke in the collaboratory of his plans for creating jobs and opportunities for young Canadians.
That's why, as part of our plan to create jobs, grow the economy, and help the middle class, we'll immediately invest to help young Canadians like all those attending classes here at Mohawk. That's why we'll invest $1.3 billion over 3 years to create jobs and opportunities for young Canadians.
Trudeau spoke to the students of Mohawk following the press conference and even took time to take selfies with those who asked. Mohawk President Ron McCurley says it was Trudeau's youth that made the students of Mohawk so drawn to him.
Well, I think he's young. He's very personable. And I think he's got a bit of star quality to him. And so we saw students react the way I think students will react, that they were attracted to him as an individual and perhaps as a leader. And whether that'll translate into votes next Monday or not, I guess that they'll have to wait and see.
Mohawk engineering student Mo Sahib seemed to agree with those thoughts as well.
I think he has good ears to listen to students, and I was listening to his speech where he mentioned that students will be accredited, the grants will be thought of again and considered, and they will be higher. So that's great help. I believe that he is a man with a lot of goals and plans, and I would like to see where it goes from there.
Even though it had been more than an hour since Trudeau had finished speaking, students were still waiting for him outside, hoping for one last chance to talk to the Liberal leader before the polls open on Monday. Reporting for Mohawk College, I'm Jonah Tuck.
Last week was Thanksgiving, and there was a lot of unique Thanksgiving-related events going on in the community.
Hey Christiana, have you heard of Cranksgiving?
No?
It's a scavenger hunt mixed with a food drive. Let's take a look.
Cranksgiving is a scavenger hunt food drive where participants ride bicycles across the city to buy food from various grocery stores.
We happened upon cranksgiving.org, which is the initial New York City Cranksgiving event. We said, we have to do this. This sounds like a lot of fun. So we kind of put it all together, and then for the last 3 years we've been running it. We have a few more volunteers now, and yeah, we enjoy doing it every year.
Alyssa Lai was the first rider to cross the finish line.
I think this is exceptionally special when you're doing something for Thanksgiving, because you're not just, doing it for yourself, but you're taking some money out of your pocket, not a whole lot, but buying foods that really nourish people.
Matt Grande beat his record from last year for heaviest haul.
Pulled in 184 pounds this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how did you manage to get it all here?
I've got a trailer for little kids, and I loaded that thing up at 2 panniers and shoved as much stuff as I could in there, and yeah, it was a tough haul. I think I almost destroyed the trailer, but got it here in one piece.
The drive brought in over 1,000 pounds of food for the Welcome Inn Community Center Food Bank. Reporting for Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Jessica Sovey.
I'm here at the Thanksgiving at the Farm Stand event, and there's lots to do. There's taste tests, there's pumpkin carving, and there's lots and lots of food. Farm Stand coordinator Kate Flynn helped organize the event and wants to let students know the importance of eating local food.
Yeah, so basically we're having a Thanksgiving at the Farm Stand event, and we're celebrating Thanksgiving with the Mohawk community, featuring all local food. So we have an amazing array of fresh food that's all free, all available to students, and we're kind of just talking about the benefits of local food, how delicious it is, and kind of celebrating the season with Mohawk community today. So local food is a great thing, basically because A, it's delicious, and B, it really helps the local economy, and C, it is also a really great way to reduce your carbon footprint. So anything that's not trucked in from California or China basically reduces your carbon footprint substantially. So local food is really great. It's also part of a larger sustainable lifestyle, healthy lifestyle. There's so many amazing flavors available at this time of year, all throughout the season from Ontario, and we're just kind of featuring all of those today and celebrating with students about what deliciousness is really available to them, and how they can engage with healthy food that's grown locally.
Chef Greg McCausland dished out the food for the Thanksgiving farm stand.
Well, I think that there's a number of factors to consider when deciding where you buy your produce from. Obviously, supporting local industry is the best, and there are a lot of people who would say that foods grown locally have both a better flavor and also, in addition to helping the economy, they're just tasty, and it's good to support the local food movement. So whenever you're able to use ingredients that haven't spent half of their life on a truck, I think that the product is better tasting and also better for you.
The pumpkin carving contest is one of the main events here today, and I couldn't pass up this opportunity. Also competing in the pumpkin carving contest is MSA President Luke Bayless, who came out to support a good cause.
And we're actually part of the pumpkin carving contest. So we got our logo on one side to the MSA, and then get out and vote on the other side. We're really just trying to promote students to get out and vote in the upcoming federal election on October 19th. It's so important for them to get out and vote. So kind of two birds, one stone, and just that dual marketing campaign. So works out really well for us. And we thought about trying to carve the Jays logo in there, but we realized pretty quickly we don't have that much skill.
The farm stand is open every Wednesday and Thursday from 11 to 3 for the next 3 to 4 weeks. Reporting for Mohawk Journalism, I'm Josh Stewart.
So Josh, that looked like a lot of fun. Tell me about the experience.
It was a good time. The food was great, soup was great, sausages sold out in like 20 minutes, and I learned a lot. I learned I wasn't a very good pumpkin carver, but it was a good time.
That sounds good. So how long is the farm stand open till?
It'll be open for the next 3 weeks, depending on the weather.
Okay, great, thanks.
The Neighbor to Neighbor bookstore is a big part of the center. The store is run by volunteers, and all books are donated and sorted out by genres. Book prices range from 50 cents to $2. Gary is head of the volunteer chair and has been working there for 5 years.
People have books that they treasure or value, and they want to see that they don't go into landfill or into recycling, so they donate them to us. So it gives the book another life. We also provide a market, or we provide product for a market where people want to buy inexpensive books. So we're kind of a recycler in that way, or a reuser.
Neighbor Neighbor is well known for being a community food bank, but what many don't realize is that the community center offers much more than just a food bank.
Many people don't know the bookstores here. So by having the bookstore here and having new people come to the bookstore, they become more aware of Neighbor to Neighbor, and hopefully they become more aware of the charitable function of Neighbor to Neighbor, the food bank function, and all the other services that the organization provides to the community just by coming to the bookstore. Well, we have people who want to volunteer at the bookstore because they like books. But I think we also have people who volunteer at the bookstore because they want to feel like they're doing something useful. And liking books is important, but more important is how we can generate more customers and raise money for the food bank.
To learn more about donating books and Neighbor Neighbor, visit www.n2center.com. Reporting for Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Han Vo.
We're here at Mohawk College's bookstore. But Han, tell us about Neighbor to Neighbors.
Neighbor Neighbor has a bookstore, and all donations are always accepted as long as the books are in good shape, and all proceeds will go towards the center.
In other news, Mohawk College's president, Ron McCurley, sat down with our reporter, Liz Chernochenko, for an exclusive interview.
I'm sitting here with Ron McCurley. He's the president of Mohawk College. Can you tell me a little bit about how it's been for you transitioning into this role?
Today is my 14th month anniversary in the job, so it's been a great experience so far. I've had the opportunity as I came on board to build my own team. I hired two of the three vice presidents and a number of other key positions, so it's always great when you get to work with bright, capable people that you've assembled in a team. We're working on our strategic plan, which is always an interesting piece of work, and the board's been very supportive. We replaced and had to build the board a little bit because we had a lot of people retiring, but that's gone well. So far, all the big projects we've undertaken have got off to good starts, and I'm quite enjoying the job.
What inspired you to career change into being the head of a public institution such as this, like a community college, versus being the deputy minister for open government?
Well, a couple reasons. One, I was tired of commuting into downtown Toronto. I'm being very honest right now. Spent 27 years commuting, 2 hours plus every day. And on top of a very long day, that's a long commute, and I'm getting older, and that was tiring. Secondly, I was coming up to my 10th anniversary in the government. That was long enough. I wanted to get out and do something meaningful, and I wanted to work in the broader public sector where I could make a difference. And so that led me naturally to look at organizations like colleges, where we do make a difference, where I think education is one of the great levelers in terms of leveling inequality, giving people a chance, giving them the opportunity to do great things with their lives. And the timing was perfect. This opportunity happened to open up at the time I started looking, and so I was referred to the search committee, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Can I ask more about the city school by Mohawk? How much did that take to put together?
It's a relatively modest investment on our part. It would be in the neighborhood of less than $100,000 so far for the first school, which is not very expensive for new programming. Part of it is we've got great support from our own faculty and from the community, so we didn't buy or pay any rent for that space. The space is free to us from the community. We had some of our students and faculty and support from Stony Creek campus to totally retrofit the room, so they did all the work there, so we didn't have to hire that labor. So we've managed to introduce a city school by Mohawk in a very modest budget. We also had a donor step forward. Barbers, Doug and June Barber, donated $100,000 to help us with the first city school as well. Classrooms are already underway. We've already run our first programs there. The official launch was last Friday, October the 2nd, and it's up and running, and programming is set for all through the fall, and we're developing winter and spring programming options now.
Can you tell me more about this hoop dance section?
So the hoop dance is it's an outdoor classroom that's being built now. It will have fire feature and a water feature. It will have traditional gardens, so it will grow tobacco and sage, and I think corn is the other one. It'll have relatively basic seating, but an opportunity for classrooms for storytelling and for other Indigenous education methods to be used to instruct people. It will not be exclusive to the college. We're really building it as a resource for the region, so that if others want to use it as well, we hope they will. And we hope it'll be a great focal point and gathering point, and an opportunity to both share Western knowledge and Indigenous teachings in an outdoor classroom setting.
The 3D printing lab was big news last year when it was built, but is there any new ventures that you guys are pursuing with the 3D printing lab and the health technology section right across from it, the $1 million room? Mm-hmm. Do you guys have any plans for those?
We do, and stay tuned.
All right, thank you, Ron McCurley. I appreciate your time today.
Liz, thank you very much. My pleasure.
All right, thank you.
It's not a secret Hamilton has been trying to reinvent itself to an art city rather than a steel city. Hamilton has a lot of galleries showcasing local artists.
Between September 10th and October 17th, Earl's Court Gallery in Hamilton hosted an exhibit called Reflective Natures, featuring artwork by Toronto artists Laura Kulik and Dara Aram. Laura Kulik uses hot and cold wax in her work and deals with exploring one's natural environment.
It has to do with places that she's been and the way she sees them in an abstract and semi-realist way.
Dara Aram paints in acrylic, and all of his works are abstract.
And they also deal with his outer environment, both in living in the city as well as traveling up north and to the country. And that's why the title is called Reflective Natures, because the ideas kind of are reflective of each other. The next show after this one we have is called Playing Strange, and it's 4 artists, and the work will be sculptural as well as painting. and all the work is kind of creepy and fantastical, sort of to go with the time of year of Halloween, and so that should be a really fun show.
The opening reception for Playing Strange is October 22nd, and the exhibit runs until November 21st. Reporting for Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Tanya Guerra.
Hi and welcome to Mohawk Movie Review. I'm Tori Blissmo, joined by Alex Smythe. Today we're going to be taking a look at The Martian.
The storm had escalated to severe, and we had no choice but to abort the mission. But during the evacuation, astronaut Mark Watney was killed.
Quick thoughts on the film.
Well, quickly, I liked this film a lot. I thought it was very well done. Cinematography was fantastic. You felt like you were on the desolate planet of Mars. That was great. The script was really well done. They did a good job of incorporating different elements in terms of storytelling, because when you're a single person trapped on a planet by yourself, you need to form a way to have dialogue, and so they were able to do it with video blogs and transmissions from Earth to Mars, and they also had a lot of communication from the Earth side of things, so all these secondary characters got a lot to say, which was fantastic.
From the trailers, this movie seemed pretty dark. What was the tone like?
Unexpectedly light is the best way to put it. The movie wasn't about how one man was trapped on a planet all by himself and he needs to survive the elements. No, this was about the entire planet Earth working together to get one man back home. It was inspiring. It was a feel-good movie. There was one small part where you see Matt Damon kind of break down and feel the isolation, but beyond that, there was nothing that really made you think, okay, this is a dark or tone movie. This was light, this was entertaining, this was a fun movie to see, and I didn't expect that going into the movie. I thought it was going to be dark and gritty, but Ridley Scott did a fantastic job of just bringing some story like this and made it into something that audiences of all ages can really enjoy.
So this movie had a star-studded cast. Do you think they lived up to their expectations?
I do, for the most part. There was probably 95% of the cast. They had a role and they filled it really well. Even at the start or towards the middle, you kind of question, okay, well, why is this person here? Why is this person here? But eventually, they found their characters. They found that kind of niche that they played in, and it worked well. Jeff Daniels did a phenomenal job. Sean Bean played a really kind of small but interesting role for him. Donald Glover did a really good job adding some comedy elements to it, along with Michael Pena and Jessica Chastain. The list goes on and on.
So what were your final thoughts?
Final thoughts, I really like this film. I'm giving this a 4.5 out of 5. It is arguably one of the best films I've seen all year, definitely one of the best films from Ridley Scott within the past decade. This is on par with Black Hawk Down, The Gladiator, Alien, some of his great works. I think direction-wise, he did a phenomenal job handling that star-studded cast. The cinematography in this is phenomenal. When you look at Matt Damon, you think he is literally on the planet Mars. It's red, it's desolate, it's barren, and it just looks so realistic. I think even from the research point of view, this story and the script, it seems like every single element was researched well. It's all scientifically backed improvement in terms of how he can survive and the steps he takes to get off the planet. Along with the comedy, there were some great hidden jokes in there with references to Lord of the Rings and Sean Bean, which was quite funny. Matt Damon had some real comedy elements to the film himself. He's a leading man. He has to carry most of the film.
In your face, Neil Armstrong.
So definitely for everyone who's thinking about seeing this film, you really have to go see it. It is phenomenal. See it on the big screens. You'll be blown away.
Well, that's all from Mohawk Movie Review. I'm Tori Blissmo.
I'm Alex Smythe. See you next time.
With each Surge Speaker event, a different business owner comes in to talk about the many different aspects to running your own business, including finances, marketing, and much more. The Surge Speaker events happen every Thursday in Mohawk College's I-Wing. Business owner Sean Iles stopped by to talk about his business, Flight Studios, and to give the students some inside information on starting up their own businesses.
I'm the president and CEO of Flight Studios, which is a software company that focuses on educational software in particular. We are currently working on developing a platform that allows educators to search through curriculum-based video games that are rated by educators, vetted by educators. Once they take the educational game, they can embed it in their learning environment, and then they can collect data on students' progress and whether they're actually excelling at the curriculum skills that are necessary or not. Well, we are a startup company of all Mohawk College graduates, and we also all work here. So, we work with co-op students all the time, and we know how difficult that can be, being a student starting out without having any connections. So I think it's important for alumni that are being successful in the startup atmosphere in the software industry in Hamilton to come back and kind of help students get up off the ground and really start functioning as a business here.
One of the questions that always pops up at the Surge events is what is the best piece of advice the speakers can offer to the students?
Never give up and never take no as an answer.
Some of the students that attend the weekly Surge speaker events try and get as much information as they can from the business owner who has been in their situation before, including business student Jack Densmore.
Well, I've always had some ideas for an entrepreneurship business, and I've always liked to start my own business, and getting any advice or information from actual experts with lots of experience would really help me getting started myself.
The students can relate to the advice given by Sean and use that knowledge when starting their own business.
Basically all the technical terms like monetizing, getting involved with lawyers early on, finding out a nice plan to split an idea you have before it becomes an actual business with other shareholders and whatnot, just to make less confusion in the long run.
For more information about the events, visit the college website. Reporting for Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Bailey McLaughlin.
I'm here with reporter John Toden. So John, tell me a little bit about the program at St. Joe's.
Sure thing, Han. So the program is called the International Outreach Program, or IOP. And they take doctors from countries like Uganda, Haiti, and Guyana, and they bring them over to Canada to teach them in the latest technologies and skills in the medical field, in the hopes that these doctors will bring it back to their home countries and teach other doctors there. So this week, I sat down with a hematologist, Dr. Clement Okello.
There's a place in Uganda called Abim district, is in Karamoja. I work at the capital, that is Kampala, Mulago Hospital, and specifically Uganda Cancer Institute. While I was at the Cancer Institute, I was working as a physician. The highest level of training I'd achieved was residency in internal medicine. There are categories of specializations for the doctors after the medical school. One can go to do surgery, that's cutting. The next one is obstetrics and gynecology, that's women. And then the other specialization is pediatrics for the children. Then the medical conditions in the adults that do not necessarily require operation, those ones, the specialists study internal medicine. Blood disorders, for example, that's what I've come to study here. The fact that there is a big gap in the field of hematology, and especially at the Uganda Cancer Institute, and the interest that I had to pursue this discipline, I was identified, and then I came to McMaster University. My family being back home is a motivation for me to really study hard, go back home, work hard for them. And they always tell me, hey, read hard, and I tell my daughter, hey, I'm reading, you also read. There's a lot that I have to take back to my country in terms of the skills I'm going to learn from here, given the fact that this discipline is not taught in itself in Uganda. Uganda is such a small country with a population of about 36 million. And that's the population, I'm told, almost is of Canada, but Canada is so huge with all these medical workers, and the ratios of the doctors to patients back in Uganda is overwhelmingly. The healthcare professionals are very few. What I learned here that I would take home definitely is to actively look for the disease, tell the people to come for regular checkups, because of most diseases here are also caught up pretty early because of these regular checkups, which is not routinely done back home. Anyone else who would really, if they ask me whether they should join IOP or not, I think I would say I will not hesitate to recommend them to come to IOP.
The Bulldogs may have won their game against the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds, but they lost something too. Their captain, Justin Lemke.
Anytime you see that, no one wants to see that on the ice. I was over there and his ankle was sideways. It was kind of gruesome.
With the absence of Lemke, Harper says it's important for him to take on a bigger role as a leader with the team.
It's tough anytime you lose your captain, your leader out there. Guys like me have to step up and kind of take more responsibility. I've got to lead on the ice and in the dressing room. Being a 20-year-old, they usually expect that out of you to lead, and I think that's pretty important just for me to kind of bring in these young guys.
Well, I think I'm going to have to step up and play some heavy minutes, and I know my coaches are counting on me as well as my team, so I'm just going to make sure I produce as much as I can.
After struggling with special teams in the first few games, the Dogs killed off 4 penalties, and Cole Candela scored his first goal of the season on the power play against the Greyhounds.
We do have some chemistry, and it's been cooking up, so we've been getting better and better with each practice, and I think that there's going to be even more power play goals coming.
Yeah, we've had some trouble in both categories. We're pretty good versus you on the penalty kill, not so good on the power play, but just comes with practice. We're still pretty new. There's been guys out with suspensions that are usually on the power play and stuff like that, and same with the penalty kill. So now that we get everyone back, we'll get going, and everything should figure itself out.
Reporting for Mohawk College Journalism, I'm Christina Costable.
Wheels kept spinning at the Mattamy Velodrome for the second day of the 2015 Canadian Track Championships. The Thursday feature races focused on the elite women's sprint division. After sweeping through the elimination rounds, Pan Am teammates and gold medalists Monique Sullivan and Kate O'Brien squared off against one another in the finals. Sullivan, the 2012 Olympian, won back-to-back heats in the best of 3 and took the top spot on the podium. Sullivan was pleased with her performance and felt that the day's races helped her to gauge her conditioning as she prepares for the rest of the season.
I had to sort of dig a little bit for the racing today. We've been training really hard because we're building up for the World Cup coming up in a few weeks, so definitely feeling the training in my legs, but was able to push through it and come out with the win, so really happy with that.
In terms of facing teammate O'Brien, Sullivan believes strategy was the key to victory.
Well, I sort of wanted to be at the front, so I was able to take control and make sure that I got the lead because I just preferred to race against her from the front, so I felt a bit more in control that way. So I was able to take charge and do my own race, so it worked out well that way.
Both Sullivan and O'Brien will represent Canada in the World Cup. Reporting for Mohawk Journalism, I'm Jimmy Goldenberg.
Well, that's all for this edition of Ignite News. I'm Han Vo.
And I'm Christiana Machado. See you next week.